Okay, Roger Corman, it's time to do that voodoo that you do so well. By 1958, Roger Corman was riding high, but that came with a small problem. You see, he was renowned for making films cheaply, boy did he make them cheaply, and super fast, which meant that sooner or later he was going to run short of ideas. So he decided to borrow a plot line from a highly successful 1956 book, which as we go along may seem a bit familiar to you. And that's what we're looking at today. Gentlefolk, alien parasite gentlefolk, and brave scientists, 1958's The Brain Eaters. Our story begins in Riverdale, Illinois, where nothing ever happens. Except, of course, when something happens. Such as the mysterious appearance of a giant cone-shaped object in the middle of nowhere. This needs investigating. And that means a trip to Washington, where the bombastic Walter K. Powers and his assistant are telling the assembled people, most of whom look like they'd rather be somewhere else, about this mysterious discovery.
A ravine 6 miles south of the town of Riverdale, Illinois. 48 hours ago, discovery was made of a great cone-shaped object. The cone stands 50 feet high, has a base diameter of 50 feet. The nature of the cone, undetermined. Origin, unknown. Efforts made to determine the composition of the cone by Dr. Paul Kettering, principal scientist for Project Damper, have proven futile. The surface of the cone has a total resistance to pressure, heat, acid. Coincidental with the discovery of the cone is the brutal slaying of several of the town's leading citizens. Townspeople questioned provided stories of strange sightings on or about the time of the discovery of the cone. One report cited the appearance of a fiery horse-drawn chariot in the sky. All reports inconclusive. As of this report, the origin and the nature of the cone remain unknown.
Well, that was certainly inconclusive. Deciding to take matters into his own hands, because he's that kind of guy, Senator Powers goes down to Riverdale and meets the mayor's son, who was the first person to discover the mysterious cone.
Where's the mayor?
Oh, he's not here, Mr. Powers. I'm his son, Glenn Cameron.
We wired ahead. Why isn't he here?
Well, we've had some disturbing developments here in town, Mr. Powers. As of last night, we've got 3 murders in our hands.
The mayor?
No, at least we're hoping against it. He's disappeared, though. There's no word of any kind.
Sounds to me like the Department of Law Enforcement has an abundant supply of bunglers. Do I have transportation? All right, let's get out to that ship or cone or whatever it is.
At the site, they meet Professor Kettering and Alice, the mayor's secretary, and those two are obviously sweet on each other. Upon hearing that the mayor has mysteriously returned, they all head to the office and find that he's acting a bit odd, even for a politician.
Dad, you had us worried. You left no word.
I left word with Alice. Alice, didn't you give him my message?
Mayor Cameron, you didn't say anything to me.
Didn't I? I'm sure I had.
Where you been all this time, Mayor?
I'm on Walter K. Powers down from Washington. I'm here to keep this spaceship business in check. Don't you think you picked a very poor time to absent yourself from office?
Washington is not running this town. I am.
Dad, Mr. Powers is only trying to help.
Are you siding against your father?
Sorry, Dad, but you don't look well.
I feel fine.
You do look kind of pale, Mayor Cameron.
I'm not sure you're welcome in this town anymore, Dr. Kettering.
Now, hold on, Cameron. If I have to push my weight around, I will. Riverdale's not a republic. It's part of the USA. One telephone call from me and this town goes under martial law. Now, let's not make terrors.
All of you, get out!
Mr. Powers, please wait. Dad, there is something the matter. What is it?
I said get out! And keep away from that door! Wait a minute, what's going on here?
What is that on the back of your neck, Mayor?
There's nothing on my neck.
I say there is. Do you mind if I take a look at it?
Don't go near him.
Why don't you give the gun to Glenn? He's your son. Surely you trust him. All we want to do is help you.
Dad? May I have the gun?
Either they really need to switch to decaf coffee or something very strange is going on. And an autopsy reveals something alien.
None of you should feel any sense of guilt about the mayor's death because of the shooting.
What do you mean?
He would have died anyway.
It works like this, Powers. That thing on the back of the mayor's neck had two piercing instruments. They attached themselves to the central nervous system at the base of the neck. Now, we don't quite know how it worked, but when the thing was crushed and the instruments withdrawn, they secreted something in the form of an acid. And this acid destroyed the mayor's nervous system. So without the shooting, death would have ensued in, well, what would you say, Doctor?
24 to 48 hours. Just enough time for the acid to do its work.
So we've got mysterious parasites that take over a person's will and cannot be removed without killing them. Could be tricky. Things take a more personal turn, however, when the, whatever they are, set their eyes on a special target.
They've got her. At least she's still alive. We'll find a way.
No, it can't be. If I kill that thing, that means that we have to kill her. And if we let it live, that means that she'll be a menace to everyone else.
Where to now?
Out to the cone, where else?
Thought we gave that up.
I haven't. How about you?
Think you may be right.
When we got to the ravine, still another mystery greeted us. Dr. Weiler and the others had discovered a dying man who presumably came from inside the spaceship. Kettering recognized the man as Professor Helsingman, who vanished with an entire scientific expedition 5 years ago.
Lane, there's a medical kit over in the tent. Will you get it for me, please?
Will he live?
No, but he's going to, as long as science can make him.
Why did the thing go away? Why did it leave him?
A car with a bad engine. Would you buy it? He's got a bad heart. It's the same thing.
That parasite off his back. He'll die in a matter of hours. During that time, he'll make trouble, won't he? He'll be out of his mind.
Yes, we'll have to tie him up. Why don't you go get us a rope?
Came out of that cone. No doubt about that.
Yes, but was he in the cone to begin with? Or did he go into the cone?
Let's get him to a hospital. We might get something out of him yet. Every minute counts.
Remember, if you can't afford to have a bunch of dialogue stated, just use a voiceover. It's the expeditionist's friend.
Are the parasites from the cone? What is the secret of the cone?
Carboniferous.
Carboniferous. Carboniferous age.
What's Carboniferous age?
200 million years ago, the coal and oil forming period began. Geologists refer to it as the Carboniferous age. It was the age of insects. Giant dragonflies, 2 feet in wingspread. All kinds of insects, mammoth in size.
You mean the parasites come from the Earth? They've survived in the Earth all this time?
So the parasites are actually from Earth. Interesting. There's a few questions, but we'll deal with that later. Now previously, Kettering himself had gone inside the cone and thought it was nothing but a spiral. You go in, you come out the same entrance. But further investigation reveals a mysterious hidden panel. And beyond that, more plot exposition. Yay!
Come in, gentlemen. You have no choice. You may stop there.
Well, there's no doubt. You're Professor Cole.
I was Professor Cole.
What do you mean, you were?
Now I hold a position of a much higher order.
I presume you're like the others. No will of your own. You take your orders from that thing on your back.
There is nothing on my back.
That's what it tells you.
And these glass pillars. There's nothing in them, I suppose.
You speak directly to me. We are in complete harmony. We are inseparable. There is no conflict of purpose here as there is among mankind. We will not engage in combat or violence of any kind. Why should we? When we can scatter quietly like seeds in the wind.
You mean spread like a disease, like some vile plague from the corruptions of the earth?
Our social order is pure, innocent. It has the exactitude of mathematics. We shall force upon man a life free from strife and turmoil. Ironic that man should obtain his long-sought utopia as a gift rather than as something earned.
Speak in riddles.
How many more are there in your world?
We that you see here are the founders. Though few in number, we shall organize man to aid us in bringing the others to the surface. It will take time. But we have learned patience in 200 million years.
You know, the guy in the robe and the fake beard has a pretty good voice. Wonder if he could have a career in acting. Nah, probably not. So now that they finally know what's going on, they have to find a way to deal with the creatures. Fortunately, an electrician's truck has crashed nearby, and its occupants taken over. So now they have all the equipment they need to electrify the contents, basically involving a cable fired by a special gun, and then connected to a central line and fired at some cable, so zap. The aliens, however, or whatever the hell they are not going to take this lying down? Scuttling down? Anyway, they're not going to stand for it, and they send out Alice, which puts Catering into a precarious situation.
Paul, you must listen to me. What I have to say means everything to me.
Alice, whatever you have to say, it's not of your own making.
No, Paul, you're wrong. I know what you're thinking, but you're wrong.
Alice, you must come down. There's no time left.
There is time, Paul. You can give it to us.
Say it. Go ahead.
Listen and believe. If peaceful means fail, they'll be compelled to use force. Do you understand?
Alice, will you come with me? I make you this solemn promise. If it takes me the rest of my life, I'll find a way of freeing you. I believe in that so strongly, I know I won't fail.
Never. How could I ever think that I loved you?
Dead? He gave the order? Fire the gun. I can't. Now you listen to me. Either fire that gun or give it to me. Fire the gun!
in town.
I'll attend to that. Watch my dust. We'll get them. Or you don't know all the K powers.
So that was The Brain Eaters. How was it? Frankly, a bit disappointing. Yes, I know what you're thinking. It's Roger Corman. We're not exactly expecting Shakespeare here. But usually he puts a little bit more effort into his work. I mean, not only did he steal the plot wholesale from Robert Heinlein's The Puppet Masters, for which Robert actually sued him, though he didn't get very much out of it, and was just so fed up with Corman's whole deal that he basically just settled out of court. But he didn't even manage to get that right. Well, the actors do their best, although Kettering is maybe a little bit too much of the intrepid scientist type to really be likable or even very interesting to watch. And the subplot of what Alice is, okay. But there are so many unanswered questions and plot holes. The creatures encountered the expedition 5 years ago, somewhere and somehow. They took them over and had them build this container, some way. It arrived in this location somehow. Not especially stated if it came up out of the earth, or if it was launched from somewhere else and this is where it landed, or whatever. I mean, how the hell did they even make the damn thing with a bunch of elderly scientists? And if they had more people working for them, why didn't they stay wherever the hell they were and spread out to the population that way? Why go to Illinois of all places? And was the guy in the beard actually possessed or not? Was he just deciding that, this sounds pretty cool and at least I get to wear this neat robe, so I'll work with them? Or was he actually possessed and just pretending he wasn't possessed? So as much as I enjoy Roger Corman's unique style, I can't in all good conscience recommend this film. It's rather dull, it's extremely lazy with a lot of plot holes, and the fact that he didn't come up with even a slightly original plot is another strike against him. Yeah, I know his plots haven't exactly been original in the past, but at least he wasn't outright stealing. So for a comparatively dull and derivative plot, a great deal of plot holes, and a cast doing their best but not really able to do much with the material they have, I'm going to give this 1/2 Maple Leaf out of 5. Not really one I can recommend, and there are better or at least more interesting Corman films out there. I'm Sam Canadian Critic, and I'll see you next time.
Ironic that man should obtain his long-sought utopia as a gift rather than as something earned.
Now, previously, of course, they climbed inside the cone to see if there's anything inside and found it was just... Well, of course they went inside to see what's inside. They can't see what's inside from the outside, can they? I mean, that's just common sense.